Joe, just to start off with, I suppose this is what anyone wants, is it's in your own hands.
Absolutely. As I said previously, a week ago, we were probably a little bit down and out, thinking that, it's not in our hands. We weren't happy in the position that we were in. And it's all changed within a game, and we've managed to do really, really well over the last 2 games to keep ourselves in that position, to put us in a really nice spot going into the last game, and that's all we could have asked for, and that's what we've managed to do.
Is this game a taste of nerves as much as anything else?
I think so. It's going to be about everything. I think it's the whole day is going to be quite a big day for both teams. It's who's going to be able to bring the best in those moments and keep a calm head, keep a cool head, win that battle of the nerves and win that battle on the pitch. And that's what we've got to work towards over these last couple of days to put ourselves in a good position to do that come Sunday.
You obviously have the advantage of playing at Ibrox. I'm assuming that you hope there's a good draw, that fans come out, back you, try and get you over the line, but also just how do you use the expanse of the pitch and the good surface and everything? Yeah, that's why we say we always want to play at Ibrox. We really let ourselves down last time, and I think everybody was surprised at the performance, not so much the result, but the performance against Glasgow City. So we know that we've got to do things better there. 9 times out of 10 we do. We're not going to be perfect all the time, but we've got to make sure that we're using the pitch, we're using our crowd, we're using the home advantage, and taking everything that we can. We're lucky that we're in this position, because, like I said, we could have been playing them at Ibrox a few weeks ago and the league was done. That wouldn't have been a nice feeling, so we've got to make sure that we're trying to make the best of the position that we've put ourselves in now. You obviously beat Hibs at Ibrox Parks a couple of months back in the League Cup final, very emphatic. What's the psychology then? How much does that game affect Sunday's game, the fact that you know that you've had one over Hibs on a big stage when the pressure was on? Yeah, we've got to use that to our advantage. You can't shy away from that fact. Playing in a cup final and you manage to turn up and stick to a game plan and win the game comfortably as well. So we've got to use those moments. We've got to look back at the game, look at what we did well, look at Hibs, look how they maybe have changed things slightly, been forced into it with a couple of injuries as well. So the dynamic's similar. We've got to make sure that we're using the whole experiences. We've obviously got to look back at the Meadowbank game as well when we went there just a couple of weeks after the cup final and they beat us comfortably as well. So we're using all these experiences. We've got to look back on everything and really bring our A game. We've really got to turn up, and I'm sure and I'm confident that we can. Obviously, Hibs will need a point. Yeah. You guys know you need to go out and you need to win. Do you expect Hibs to come and sit in, and does it help you knowing, well, we know what we've got to do? Yeah, it doesn't matter what they want to do for us. We've got to go out there and win. I think even if we needed a draw, that wouldn't be our mindset, but each team's different. It can affect you knowing that you get later on the game, you only might need a draw, you might need to try and shore it up and keep it tight, whereas we're trying to win the game. But that's what we do every single week. You've never heard us try and play for a draw. You're getting into cup finals. This is like a cup final, so we've got to win the game. We've got to make sure that we're going out there to do everything that's possible to win the game and ultimately try and get 3 points. What would it mean to you to win this game? Oh, it'd be huge, especially this year. I think to win any trophy, it's difficult. When you look back on last year, we were close, but we played Thistle and Hearts in a final. You look at this year, we've played Hibs in a final. We are to play City in a final. And you look at the competitiveness of this year, it's just gone through the roof. I think to win any trophy this year is extremely difficult to do. I don't know how, but we're sat in with a chance of still in all 3. And I've not even thought about a cup final. This is the first time I've spoke about it. So we're in an amazing position. It will mean so much to us and the players. We've got Jane that's obviously retiring at the end of the year, so it gives us a little bit of an extra incentive to want to do something special for her as well. So just for the whole group and for the season that's happened in Scottish women's football, it'd be huge for us to take a couple more trophies if possible. Just across the last couple of days, what have you felt has been the atmosphere within a camp at training? Do you sense the players are just now chomping at the bit to get out and go? Yeah, it's about bringing that excitement. It's about bringing the level of confidence and seeing smiles on faces and looking at the possibility of winning it.
not potentially the dread of losing it. I think that's the biggest thing for me. We've got to look at the possibility of winning it and what that looks like for us, and use that and try and thrive off that and bring that to the game, because we're going to need every ounce of it.
Just finally from me, the next 9 days, it could be all or it could be nothing. How do you cope with that?
Yeah, that's tough. You know, it's taking each game as a time. Like I said, we're not even looking at the cup final right now. We're looking at the game on Sunday because that's got our full attention. We'll look at the cup final come Monday morning. But we've got to make sure that we're taking each game, each training session that comes, and we're fully focused. We're on board. We're all on the same page, and we're all fighting to win. Thank you.
Callum, is there anything for yourself?
Yeah, basically, just again, show something about how big a game is this? How big is it for you? How big is it for the squad?
Yeah, it's a massive game, which it's been in keeping the last week. You step into the Celtic game, it was a massive game. We knew we had to win to keep ourselves in with the fight. Coming into Wednesday night's game, it's never easy to go to the Oriam and pick up points. We knew it was a massive game again. All teams have done it, you know, Hibs have done it all week as well. So we've managed to come through that and show some real character to put ourselves in this position. And again, we're coming into another massive game, and this is the last one in the league decider. So yeah, it's a position that we didn't think we were in a week ago, but we're in it now, and we want to make the most of it.
Lewis and I couldn't hear a lot of the press conference there, so apologies if Alison's covered this, but how do you make sure when you're on the cusp of something so historic like this season, it could be a treble, that the players channel that in the right way?
That we're just focusing on one game at a time. That's what we've done all week. We're not looking too far ahead. Like I said, we're not even looking at the cup final right now. We can't concentrate on that. We can't take our eye off of what's in front of us. We need to concentrate on today's training session, and that's the main focus for today, to get a few bits right, to make sure we've got some real key details into the players. Same again tomorrow, and then we'll attack Sunday as it comes. So we're really focused on just what's ahead of us at this moment in time. We can't look too far ahead to the possibility of what could happen, because we know it changes very quickly. So we're fully concentrated on today's training session, it'll be tomorrow's training session, and then it'll be Sunday's game.
How big a part do you think Ibrox is going to play in this title decider?
I'm hoping it can be huge. I'm hoping our fans will turn up and really get behind the players and the team and be loud and be heard, because we've seen what a difference it can make to the players. You know, they thrive off those moments and those environments, and you know, it's our home ground. We really want to turn up and make every percentage count, and if that gives us an extra 2, 3, 4, 10%, we want to use it. So we're hoping it can be a real advantage to us.
And last one from me, I think this is the third season in a row where there's final day drama in the SWPL. I guess on a broader note, what does that say about the excitement and the quality in this league?
Yeah, it's huge for the league. You know, I think there's no other league that has this drama towards the last day of the season. You know, we lost out on the last day of the season last year. We didn't like that feeling. But you know, it's happening again. It's happening year after year, and I think, you know, one team would love to run away with it, but for the neutral, it's outstanding for the league and for the country as a whole, because you look at the noise and the buzz around it. I think it's huge, and it just shows the level that the league's got to, and it is getting to, because it's getting tougher and tougher year on year. And you know, it's not been this many teams that have been in a title race for a number of years now. So I think it's key to where the league's going and the progression of the league and where it can get to.
Joe, you touched on there that you're obviously not wanting to look too far ahead and just take it one game at a time. I guess when you look back at some of your meetings with Hibs this season, what can you take particularly from that League Cup final victory over Hibs, that when the stakes were so high, your team turned up and performed like that? How much of that can you take into what is a must-win game this weekend? Yeah,
well, previous to that game, I said we had a point to prove to ourselves because of our previous result to Hibs. You know, we didn't hold ourselves to account. You know, we weren't at it, and we did. We managed to turn up and put a lot of that right. And we've got to do something similar again, because you know, they did the same thing to us again a couple of weeks after the cup final. We've got to prove again that, you know, that we are better than that, and that's not a performance that we're proud of and we're happy of. So we've got to make sure that we're turning up. There's obviously again the whole emotional and mental battles that come in with that, with it being final game of the season and what's at stake. And I'm hoping that we can pull a lot of reflections from what we did in the cup final on that as well. But you've got to remember that Hibs will have definitely learnt from that, and they'll have learnt from the the result and the performance that they put on in the cup final day. So they're not going to be wanting to see that again. So they've got everything that's going to come to a head. Both teams are wanting to prove a point. Both teams with a lot to gain at the end of the day. So it's looking tasty.
When it comes to management, Joe, how much of it is a balancing act between the tactical and that side of the game as opposed to the emotional and the mental side when you go into such high stakes, big occasions like this one will be at Ibrox?
Yeah, that's literally your job. That's trying to get that balancing act right. How much do I need to it at the emotional level? How much detail do I need to give? Obviously a short turnaround because we only played Hearts on Wednesday evening, a 3-game week, and the last week of the season is super tough. It's not easy to do. Everybody's obviously in the same boat, but you've got such a short turnaround where normally you'd have a Monday to Saturday prep. We don't have that because you've had to focus solely on game to game. So, you've got a quick turnaround to play the biggest game of the season. So it's kind of going, what do we need to push here? What's needed today? But that's where my staff and my planning really come into it, and we've made sure that we've worked for this week. We've planned ahead accordingly, and we're just hoping we got it right.